Hello, everybody. Or a few people anyway. We might wait a couple minutes for more people to join. As always, the first person who tells me that they can see me and hear me all right gets a gold star, because I'm never sure if this thing is going to work right. I'm also not sure what the latency is, but I will be answering questions and comments in this live stream, so feel free to ask anything you've been wanting to ask. Maybe you have questions about finally leaving pornography behind. Yes. Okay, we got a person saying yes. I'm imagining that's to my first question. That makes me happy. Maybe you have questions about porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Maybe you have questions about talking to your girlfriend or your wife about this, so in a way that she understands. Hey everybody, welcome in. So today I'm going to be going over some comments on the YouTube channel, responding to some of those, and also answering your questions. Got someone from India on. It's definitely an international channel. I look at the analytics sometimes, and it's just like every country in the world, basically. It's pretty cool to see what you can do with the internet these days, how far your reach can go with very few resources, as long as you have a message that people want to hear. I also sent out a tweet the other day because I found a copy of my video from the Mystery Box live storytelling event back in 2014, where I first told my story of porn addiction and recovery, and it has over 700,000 views, and it's translated into Arabic, so reaching people that I could never reach myself because I do not know Arabic, but someone took the time to translate that and share it, and it seems like it's having an impact. All right, another person from Denmark. Another guy has 105 days, no FAP. That's a solid foundation, my friend. Good work. All right, let's get started looking at some comments. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. Hopefully I don't have anything embarrassing. It's always a fear, right? You're live streaming your screen and you have some like photo of you as a baby with your diaper being changed on the screen. All right, let's look at these comments. First one, we got a critical one. Good. I love critical comments. Giving us free orgasms, no rejection, no kink shaming, no awkward talks about fantasy, doesn't carry disfiguring diseases. I could go on as to the benefits of porn. The only side effect I've ever had is a lack of desire to approach women. See a hottie at school, get hard, go home, and fap. Is that not enough? Is that not enough to clue you in that you might have a richer life if you gave it up and spent that time and energy looking for satisfaction and connection in the real world, talking to real people, finding out who they really are, going on real dates? And you might, after 30 days or 60 days porn-free, discover that it had some other effects that you never really noticed because they developed slowly over time. And that was enough so that you didn't realize it while it was happening, but once you quit, you start to notice, oh, actually I can study a lot more effectively. I have a lot more concentration, or I have a lot more confidence in social situations, or my libido for real women, real people in my life is a lot stronger, and which makes me feel a lot more alive than pornography ever did. A lot of these benefits that you list are just lack of negatives. They're not actually benefits. And free orgasms, well, maybe orgasms shouldn't be that easy because they're not supposed to be a reward in and of themselves, but a means of inspiring us to go out into the world and making real connections. Is wet dream a relapse? Got our first question. No, I would say definitely not. I made a video, I think last year, about what counts as a relapse. And in that video, I say it's not black and white. There are shades of gray, and it really depends on you and what you want in your own journey. But I would say wet dream is definitely not a relapse since there's no conscious decision involved. Some people seem to feel a lack of energy for a couple of days after a wet dream, where they find that their superpowers fade away for a little while, but I would not worry about it. I think I just did an Inception thing here on my screen, so you can see like 8 of me now, going off into infinity. See, I'll look at comments here next time. Is the reboot can be achieved only by nofap for a couple of months? All right, I think that is a question about how long does it usually take to complete a reboot. And that answer is a little bit complicated. It really depends on the person and on how long they've been using porn, how much sexual experience they have, what sexual dysfunction they've developed, if at all, or they're just trying to get rid of the urges, the compulsions, the cravings. Most people, I can say, see very significant progress within 90 days, but a lot of people don't feel like they're completely back to a new normal, like all progress done 100%, until a greater part of a year or longer. That doesn't mean that you have to wait that long to recover from a sexual dysfunction. Most people, that happens incrementally over time. So at first, they're able to do it after a few months or a couple of months. And it's not the best, it's still a little rocky, but over time that improves and it just keeps getting better until they come back to that new normal. How did I get that dark background on YouTube? I think it's in the settings somewhere. I like it. Hey bro, I came out of a 2 months flatline. Wow, you really helped me, bro. I stopped watching porn and no masturbating. It really works, people. Thank God. Stop the porn, please. Everyone is a sin. I think he means porn is a sin, not everyone is a sin. Sin is not really a word that I use. Doesn't really fit into my life rubric, but I think it is harmful to our health. I'm going monk mode. The past week so far, I've learned that the girls on my Instagram and Facebook bring no value to me, and the ones that do are the women I meet in real life. Also, 14 months, no PMO here, but the social media has slowed down my progress, in my opinion. Yeah, social media, it depends on how you use it. I use social media. It helps me connect with people. It helps me find out about events that are going on and plan things with my friends. But if you're using it to just look at pictures of pretty ladies or find some sort of erotic buzz or stimulation, then that's definitely not going to help you along. You might not have enough time for it, and it's entirely up to you, but I would like to ask you to read one success story per day you receive in your mail. I think it will make your channel a great motivational channel even more. Thank you for everything that you do, sir. I agree, that would be amazing, and I will be the first to admit that I'm not a consistent uploader. I get caught up in life, I get distracted by things. I've never had a consistent upload schedule. It would be cool to do maybe one a week. I can't commit to one a day because I know I would fail and let people down. But that is a good idea, thank you. Check out. Can I lower my testosterone and libido by consuming large amounts of mint? I have no idea. I'm freely admitting that I have no idea. I've never heard of mint and its effect on libido or testosterone. One guy never seemed to be able to cross 30 days. Another guy can't go an hour. Yeah, I work with people like yourselves all the time, and it's not about can't, it's about you don't know how yet. You haven't learned the skills, the knowledge that you need yet. I made a whole live stream about how to get to those first 30 days and beyond, so you should go back and watch that if you haven't seen it or need a refresher. But I will give you one thing that I talked about with a client recently, and it's something that allows people to make porn not an option in their minds. And when it's simply not an option for you, it's much easier to ignore thoughts about pornography or urges or temptations and just go on about your day. Laugh off that urge and go on, make a sandwich, do some homework, whatever you're supposed to be doing. And that step is to make a commitment to yourself that if you relapse or slip again, you're going to do something that you know will be good for your recovery, but that you're afraid to do. And this isn't something that I would recommend you do right away, at the very beginning of your journey, though some people can, and it does help them become porn-free forever. But I'd recommend this after you've learned a lot of the skills and knowledge that you're going to need to stay porn-free forever. So after you've tried this many, many times, you've relapsed many times, broken promises to yourself, then I would recommend thinking about this option, really considering what that might look like for you. For some people, it's, well, if I relapse or slip again, I know that I'm out of control. I know that I can't handle this on my own. So if that happens again, I'm going to do something that I've been dreading for a long time, which is opening up to my wife or my girlfriend or my mom or my brother and tell them about the extent and depth of my struggles with pornography and how out of control I've become. And that's really something that I don't want to do because I don't want to admit how bad it's gotten, and I don't want them to look upon me as, weak or be ashamed of me. But I know that's probably not going to be their reaction. I know that they're probably going to accept me and try to help me. I know it would be good for my recovery, but I still don't want to do it. And so if you make the commitment that you're going to do that the next time you relapse or slip, that can help you think of porn as not an option, because that's what you're going to think of, that conversation with a loved one, every time you think about using pornography. And it should help you and can help you stay porn-free forever. And if it doesn't, like if you do end up slipping or relapsing, then that consequence is something that is actually bound to help you break out of this cycle and introduce some change and some new growth into your life. So it shouldn't be something that's just painful. Like, it shouldn't be, I'm going to donate $500 to a charity I despise or something like that. I've heard guys do that, but that's just money. It's not really something that has real emotional consequence in your life. And it's not going to be something that when you follow through with that is going to help you become clean. So it should be something like either telling a loved one, or you might know about a week-long intensive inpatient addiction recovery program that's kind of expensive. You have to take a week out of your life, take off work for that time, and you know it would be good for you, but you don't want to do it. You don't want to have to resort to that. So you can tell yourself, well, that's the step I'm going to take next time I slip or relapse. I've tried everything, even joined SA meetings, like AA meetings for sex addiction, but nothing worked well. I'm a student. I really won't stop doing it. Well, have you tried everything? Somehow, I don't think that's true, because I thought I tried everything at one point, but I kept forging ahead regardless and kept trying to learn, kept experimenting, and eventually, finally found a combination of lessons and strategies and disciplines in my life that allowed me to become porn-free forever. And I believe that that's possible for everybody. I believe that's possible for you. So if you haven't read my book, you should start there. And after that, try the strategies and the tactics that I talk about in my book. And after that, if you're still scrambling, you're still not sure where to go from here, then get in touch with me. I am a coach. I'd love to help you out. You can find out how to do that on my website, addictedtointernetporn.com. From my personal experience, it's also way better to quit alcohol since you get lazy and porn gets you easier. Yeah, I can't count the number of times clients have told me, well, I drank a few drinks with my friend the other night, and then I came home and I just had this idea, this urge to use porn, and I just said fuck it and did it. And yeah, alcohol definitely brings us closer to that point of saying fuck it and not caring. It reduces our inhibitions. If you know that about yourself, if you learned that in the past, then yeah, maybe it's time to give up alcohol, at least for those first 30, 60, 90 days, until you have some more solid recovery skills under your belt. What is your opinion on the NoFap subreddit? I've personally noticed it's changed a lot over the years in a slightly negative way, and now prefer visiting the R Porn-Free subreddit instead. Honestly, I don't go there much at all anymore. It's still up here in my bar. Let's take a look. Okay, my neighbor is mowing his lawn. I'm gonna close the window. I'll be right back. It's actually a leaf blower. Sorry about that. Talking about streaks, longest streak yet for all those who relapse. I did notice in the past that on these forums, you get a lot of advice from people who are, at 15 days or 30 days on their streaks. And, they relapsed before and then they figured out what they think they need to be porn free forever. And they want to give that advice to everybody, which is great. But you have to take that with a grain of salt because often I see these same people coming back saying, oh, I relapsed again, and then 15 days later they have some more advice for everybody. And then there are a lot of people who are very fervent about the superpowers and benefits of NoFap and being porn-free to a level that is a little misleading for people. And not everyone experiences all those benefits, and if you're expecting those and everyone is telling you that you should be experiencing them, it can be disheartening. So I like to give a more realistic outlook on those things. And also the nature of Reddit itself is such that the popular things get more popular and the not popular things get overlooked. Whereas on a forum like Your Brain Rebalanced or the NoFap forum, people who need help can more easily get attention. Whereas on Reddit, it's all about being the most popular post, the most eye-catching post. All right. I had opiate cold turkey withdrawal symptoms after 45 days. It was brutal. Yeah. People think that withdrawals are reserved for actual exogenous drugs that our bodies become addicted to, but I see people with withdrawal symptoms pretty frequently, and they can be fairly mild, flatlines, moderate depression, lack of energy, inability to concentrate, or they can be more extreme, panic attacks, constant anxiety, mood swings, extreme mood swings, even lack of ability to catch your breath, headaches, flu-like symptoms. It can get pretty crazy. NoFap is a whole new life ahead of you, believe me. Yeah, I agree with that. Any advice for the partner of the NoFapper to cope with relapses? His problem led to an affair. I am doing NoFap as well after learning of my own addiction, but still feel worthless and ugly when he slips. Yeah, I definitely empathize and sympathize with that. It's hard being the partner of a pornography addict, especially one who continues to slip and relapse. I know that cognitively you probably already know this, but on an emotional level, that's harder to learn this. But any relapse, any urge to use pornography, it's not about what you lack. It's not about you not being good enough. You might be perfect 10 out of 10 for him or her. I'm not sure if you're a man or a woman, or if your partner is a man or a woman. But and yet pornography provides things that a real person cannot. It's a supernatural stimulus, a supernormal stimulus. And especially once someone has become wired to those stimuli that a screen connected to the internet can provide, it's an addiction, and it's not about what you in your real life are not providing or cannot provide. It's about his sexuality being twisted and conditioned to something that we were never meant, evolutionarily speaking, to encounter. And so there's a book that I always recommend to couples who are going through this journey together, and that's Love You, Hate the Porn by Mark Chamberlain. And yeah, here it is. Love You, Hate the Porn, Healing a Relationship Damaged by Virtual Infidelity. I highly recommend that. You should read it together. And it's a lot about healing from that breach of trust and that sense of betrayal. And it could help you. Also, don't be afraid to seek out a relationship counselor if you think it could benefit you, if you haven't done that yet. We can't always handle these things by ourselves. Sometimes we need the insight of someone on the outside who's familiar with these issues to help us break out of these same cycles and move forward and heal together. How many sessions do you need with you to finally get clarity? It's a good question. Some people I work with for months and months. Some people I only have one session with. It really depends on your needs. The people who have only one session with me usually aren't those who are having a really difficult time leaving porn behind. They're usually people who have developed a sexual dysfunction or some other porn-related problem and want some answers about, what does recovery look like, what can I expect, what can I do to better help myself recover faster or in a more healthy way, or they have specific questions about navigating this in a relationship, things like that. They just want to tell their story and get some answers to questions, but aren't probably truly addicted because once they realized that pornography was harmful for them, they were able to give it up and stay away from it. And they just need a little bit of Q&A session and guidance on that. But the longer term people tend to be people who have had a lot of difficulty leaving porn behind permanently and need a longer period of guidance and coaching. He's just getting money. Don't pay him. He's a scammer. I know this as my friend knows him. If you want to stop, just meditate or something. This guy is useless. I'd be interested to know who your friend is. Okay, I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. If that's what you think, then I'm not sure why you're here. When did you last have contact with Gabe Deem? Where is he now? I really like what you both are doing. It's been a couple months since I talked to Gabe. We were together at the Coalition to End Sexual Exploitation Summit of 2018. But I haven't talked with him much since then, so I'm not sure what he's up to. He's definitely an inspiration for me. Love that guy. He was the first person I saw putting his face and his voice out there telling his story of PIED, and that really helped me when I was first starting. All right, let's go back to some comments here. I'm on my 30th day. Can I try having sex now? I have a girl that really wants to have sex. Yes, and be cautious. So there's no number that I can say, like after this number of days, you're ready. Go ahead and have sex. You have to listen to your body and know yourself. And good signs that you are more ready to have sex after having PIED and quitting porn are increased libido throughout the day, increased number of morning erections or random erections. You might notice more of a physical response when you're just kissing or making out. And one thing that will really help is if you have a girl or a woman or a partner or whatever, and you tell her about what you're going through. You tell her about PIED and how you developed it and that it's pretty common and people can recover, it just takes time. And that way there's no real pressure to perform because she knows and understands that it might not work right at the beginning. And so that way you don't have to worry about when's the first time you try. You just try it because you both know what's going on and you both want to take that journey together and get to that destination of being able to have easy, satisfying sex. And that way it doesn't really matter when the first time you try is. That will give you sort of an idea of where you are at in this recovery journey, where your body's at. Should you be trying again more frequently, or should you give it more time abstinent and just dial things back and make out, cuddle for a while? Addiction and beating them is a huge achievement. Suffering it may feel horrible, but when you beat it, you become experienced and a more mature person. Yes. Mental suffering is a war itself. You're living in a third world country in your mind. You will lose the war when you quit or kill yourself. Yeah. The solution is to hustle for the answer. After you get the answer, you will experience happiness. Well, I would say there's not just one answer. There's a plethora of answers that you'll need to discover along this journey. But absolutely, I've always said this. Being addicted, even for years, can feel like a waste. Like you wasted time, you wasted relationships, you wasted energy. But You learn from that, you grow from that, you grow beyond it and above it, and you're going to be stronger than perhaps you ever would have been had you not faced that adversity. Alright, I'm 24, I've watched porn and masturbated since the age of 10 very often. I was always interested in girls, always wondered about one of them, and I had many girlfriends, but just for kissing. When I had the first opportunity for sex, I failed after putting on the condom. After that event for about 4 years, I'm not sure if you guys can read this, I'm going to zoom in. I don't have the same feeling in my penis. It is shrunk and gets smaller when it is flaccid. Only gets around 50% erections. Had sex many times after that, but it wasn't satisfying. I'm on 20 days of no sex, no masturbation. And no porn? Or did you leave behind porn before? I'm not sure, it's not clear. But if you have only ever gotten a 50% erection in the last few years and never had a full erection even for pornography, I would recommend going to see a urologist and just ruling out any other physical causes for ED that might be there. It certainly is possible that you still have just PIED. People can become so desensitized that they can only get partial erections even for pornography after that long using. But I still recommend going to your urologist, making sure nothing else is wrong. Otherwise, though, if they say everything is physically fine, you're only on 20 days in, give it more time. Give it at least a few months, probably, if you're this severe, before you'll start to see some significant progress. And really commit to at least no pornography forever, or at least something long-term like a year. Give yourself that chance to recover. Give yourself that chance to heal. SAA groups have helped me connect and discuss with like-minded people who are there too. Made loads of new friends and good for support and intimacy. Absolutely. Yeah, 12-step groups can be really healthy, give you a sense of community, give you a connection with other people who are on the same journey, a forum, a format in which you can express yourself and really share what you're going through without feeling shame. That can be incredibly healing. Another person who runs groups, you guys ever listen to Porn Free Radio? It's a podcast by Matt Dobschutz, and he runs groups as well that are online. So if you're interested in group coaching, you can check him out. I find I am still afraid of physical intimacy. Yeah, a lot of us develop that fear, especially after years of PIED. Who wants to go into sex and fail and feel those feelings that come along with that? It's a pretty horrible feeling, and so you can start to dread intimacy, especially physical intimacy. And I did that too. And big way to break through that is to, number one, quit porn and start the healing process physically, so that you do become better able to take advantage of that opportunity when it comes along. And number two, break out of your emotional barriers. Share your story with your significant other or a girlfriend, and really just open up about that fear that you have, because fear, anxiety, and shame, they all flourish in isolation. And when you shine light on them and open up to others, that can be enough to get rid of it. If not entirely, then for the most part. And then after that, it's just about practicing intimacy, getting comfortable, having fun, relaxing, and over time, you won't be afraid of it anymore. What are some of your recommended books on psychology and relationships? Other recommended materials? I always liked The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal. Talks about willpower and what it is, how best to understand it, to strengthen it, to use it, to employ it. It's something I recommend pretty frequently. Show you. On relationships, I mean, there's a lot of toxic relationship material out there by pickup artists and such who teach manipulation in order to get what you think you want from people. But that is something I can never recommend. Here's Kelly McGonigal's book, The Willpower Instinct, How Self-Control Works, Why It Matters, and What You Can Do to Get More of It. I recommend that one. A book on relationships that I recommend pretty frequently is this one by Corey Wayne. How to be a 3% man, winning the heart of the woman of your dreams. He can be a little crass, but his heart is in the right place. It's not just a book about pickup or dating. It's a book about understanding relationships and really being able to look at your relationship and tell if something is going wrong and try to fix that. And it's a book about how to connect most authentically with a woman or man whom you're in a relationship with and foster a really healthy relationship. So I'd recommend that one. How the cure of PIED is to reboot. Yes, that's part of it. Reboot, quit pornography, allow your body and brain to heal. Number 2, rewire, recondition yourself to real intimacy, real life experiences, dating, kissing, massaging, etc. And then number 3 would be ridding yourself of anxiety and fear and shame around sex, which I talked about before. ED, even with porn, is it porn-induced ED? It's certainly possible. I've worked with lots of people who have developed ED even to pornography because they are that desensitized by that much overstimulation. It could be something else as well. So if you'd like to rule those things out, go to your urologist, get some tests done. If he comes back and says it's all in your head and here's some Viagra or Cialis, well, Viagra or Cialis is not going to address the root of your problem, porn-induced ED, leave porn behind. Or more and more urologists are aware of the effect of pornography on erectile functioning, and so they might even ask you about your pornography use and masturbation habits. Are you familiar with Dr. Robert Glover? No more Mr. Nice Guy. Nice Guy suppressed anger and tends to link to a lot of porn addiction. I've heard of his work, but I have not read it. I'll put it on my list, but the list is pretty long, I'll warn you. Porn makes me hate myself, yet I feel lonely without it. I hate this. 7 months porn free, only to relapse into multiple binges. Yeah, porn. Anyone really that I've worked with who has ascended to the level of being an addict with pornography has started to use porn or has used porn for a long time to fill a hole in their lives, to use as an emotional crutch. And it sounds like you've done the same. You feel lonely without it because that loneliness was always there, even when you were using porn. Porn was just a way of masking that feeling, covering it up with some duct tape so you didn't feel it. But it was still there underneath that layer of numbed desensitization. What you actually need to do is find out what you need in real life. What ways can you satisfy these primal needs, like the need for connection, in a long-lasting, satisfying way? Not just medicating it in the present so that you don't feel it for a while, but actually satisfying those needs. When we have those unsatisfied needs, especially for connection and togetherness and intimacy, that is going to always leave a hole that's going to draw or try to draw pornography back into our lives. So really take a look at your life and find out what you can do, what steps can you take. You join a club of like-minded individuals who are all passionate about rock climbing or whatever you like, and start making more friends there. Whatever. Get out into the world and find what you actually need. Day 2249. Wow. Good job, my friend. I have a question. I think that I have porn-induced ED. I just started my reboot, and now I'm 2 months without porn and masturbation. After a month and a half, I've noticed my morning wood appeared again. Last 2 weeks, every day I have morning wood. Before that, morning wood was not at all, or very, very rare, maybe once a month, and only with 30 to 40% erection. Now it's 70 to 80 and every day, but I still have flatline and dead penis without libido. Returning morning wood means that I'm progressing. This is a good sign, or does it not mean anything? Thanks for the answer. It's definitely a good sign. Definitely means that things are happening, healing is happening. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're ready to start trying sex. It sounds like you're not. It sounds like if you're not able to get full erections just randomly or in the morning or to light fantasy, then it's not time for you to try full sex yet. But it's definitely a good sign. Things are happening. You're 2 months in. Most people, or a lot of people, tend to think that 90 days should be enough to heal you, but that's not the case for everybody. 90 days is enough for most people to see significant progress. And you've already seen some significant progress, but it might be more like 6 months or 8 months before you're really ready to start trying sex. Who knows? Listen to your body and do what you're comfortable with. Except for those times when you should do what you're uncomfortable with. What about Claire Dines? I think you mean Gail Dines. Pornland, how porn has hijacked our sexuality. Gail is definitely a personal friend and someone I admire a lot. She's a very strong woman, and she's spoken out against porn for decades before we knew anything about porn addiction or porn-induced ED. And she came at it from a different angle, analyzing how pornography trains people to have sexist and misogynist attitudes and to objectify people. And it's also from a feminist angle, which is all things that I've learned to empathize with and to hold those values, a lot of those same values as well, but only after I quit porn for my own benefit. Because when I was caught in that use of pornography, the urge to rationalize away any of the other harms of pornography to society, to others, to my view of relationships and women was very strong. You know, there would always be those rationalizations. Oh, it's just fantasy. It's not real. It's the people in these videos are enjoying their work, blah, blah, blah. But once you're clear of that, you can start to see more objectively the harms of pornography on society and gender relations in general. So yeah, definitely recommend Gail Dines' work. I know I've been seriously dedicated at developing a daily plan into my routine. Every night I make out a daily plan with tasks, a plan of what I'll do when an urge arises, and a message for myself. I've been doing this for 3 weeks now, but a few days ago I slipped and binged PMO despite implementing this new structure. Any advice on what to add to the sheet of paper for my daily plan? Or am I just cluttering my mind by doing this? No. Definitely sounds like you're doing something that's going to help you in the long term. It's not a cure-all, like it doesn't make you bulletproof, but every time you relapse, you can analyze what led up to this. Is it because, did it happen because I failed to follow what was on my daily plan? Or is my daily plan lacking? Is my tool set lacking? What else can I add into this? So you said you have a plan of what it'll do when an urge arises. What is your plan? Tell us that. A message to yourself. One thing, a plan that I think is a good one for a lot of people is to journal. And you can have a pocket journal even that you keep with yourself all the time. And whenever you have an urge, you just write down the time and the day and write a little bit down about the urge. I'm having an urge right now to search for this and this. I've been bored for the last hour and just searching the internet. That might be why. And just write out some of your feelings about it. And tell yourself that you're not going to decide whether or not to use porn, or you're not going to decide to use porn until you've written, let's say, like 3 pages in your little pocket journal. And if you have a bigger journal, it might just be 1 page. But if you reach the decision before then that you're not going to use right now, great, you can put it away. But it can be really difficult to tell ourselves when we're having that urge that we're never going to use porn again. Instead, just tell yourself, I'm not going to use porn until I write 3 pages in my journal. And that just gives you a chance to allow your mind to rise back into thinking rationally, thinking about consequences, and rise out of that triggered state of just following your impulses. It gives you that chance, that those few moments to come back into your own and realize what's actually good for you. And writing it down on paper makes those thoughts concrete. Another thing you could write in your journal in that time is, what am I telling myself right now in order to convince myself to use porn? The last time I convinced myself to use porn this way, how did I feel afterwards? Just write stuff like that, and hopefully it will allow you to make the right decision for you. Noah, where is Gabe Deem? I am missing him. No video. Any information? Yeah, if you were in earlier, someone else was... Oh, I'm not seeing all messages. Thanks. Yeah, someone else asked about Gabe too. Now that people are asking about him, I'll give him a call later, and I'll see what he's up to. I'll let him know that people are missing him. Have you thought about promoting your channel on places like Reddit? I initially found your channel from someone's post there. I think a lot of people would appreciate this channel. I try not to because I know Alexander Rhodes, the founder of NoFap, if you're talking about NoFap on Reddit, and he doesn't like people advertising on his channel or on his subreddit, the NoFap subreddit, for their channels and such, especially when there's money potentially changing hands, and I do offer private coaching for money. So I haven't really focused on marketing a lot. I would like to have a wider audience and a wider reach, but things are going pretty well right now. If you have suggestions, or you could always just share my work on those sites yourself, so that it's not me. But if you find certain videos or works very helpful, then go ahead and share them. I'll be grateful for it. Resource I found very helpful is the Art of Manliness website, especially their book Manvotionals. Not as negatively macho as it sounds, very down to earth, inclusive, and comprehensive. I've been to the Art of Manliness, saw some of their articles, but I have not read that book. I'll check it out. If I don't use porn and masturbate for 1 or 2 months, and then my libido comes back and I can masturbate to porn, I feel normal, and after a few days masturbation to porn, my ED always comes back. And again, no libido and dead penis. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all by that. Once we've gotten to the point where we've developed a porn-induced sexual dysfunction or porn addiction or a porn addiction, once we leave that behind, those circuits, that wiring will fade away. It doesn't have to always be at the surface of our mind or controlling our desires and our urges, but it's always going to be there, dormant, waiting to be reactivated. So if you go back to porn after months clean, it's not going to be long before you redevelop all the same desensitization, sexual dysfunction, etc. You really have to leave porn behind permanently, forever. Now, that doesn't have to mean that you leave masturbation behind necessarily forever. People can, most of the time, recover and have normal sex lives while still masturbating without porn in somewhat moderation, right? But if you find that doing so holds you back from being able to have satisfying sex, then I'd recommend giving that up as well until the PIED is completely gone, and then you can decide whether or not masturbation should be on your life. My goal for the rest of the year is hard mode and then sex only with someone I love. My will was never stronger. I think that's an admirable goal, my friend. Good on you. All right, I was told I couldn't see all the messages, so I'll go back and see if I missed anything. Still waiting for an answer from Willing7. What's your plan? All right. Do a few more comments and I'm probably going to end soon. We've been streaming for about 45 minutes. I have been doing this podcast, Love People Use Things, with Matt Fradd. If you haven't checked that out, you should definitely give it a listen. We're at lovepeopleuseThings.fm. And it's a podcast all about pornography, its influence on our lives, how to quit, how to leave it behind for those who realize it's a negative influence. Got several seasons here. I started in season 3, being a partner with Matt. His episodes are definitely worth listens as well. He comes at it from more of a religious perspective. He's a Catholic. I am not religious, so I think it makes a good pairing, us both working together on this show, because it should be, pornography isn't just a religious issue. It's not just for religious people who should be focusing on this. But at the same time, it's not just a health issue either. There are moral implications to pornography, and that's something that religious people have been coming at pornography from that angle for a long time. and there should be a conversation between us talking about, what is pornography? Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? What should we tell our children about it? So give those episodes a listen. Just download them, listen to it in your car. I think you'll enjoy it. But I have, thanks for your response. My current plan is blank. It's not a very good plan. All right, but I have ED even with porn. It's strange. If I don't use porn and masturbation for 2 months, then I can masturbate to porn. But after a few days masturbation to hardcore again, even porn can't give me an erection. Yeah, that definitely sounds like porn-induced ED. Definitely. You give it a couple of months, you recover just enough to be able to get full erections to porn again, but then you desensitize yourself immediately after a few days, and you're back to severe PIED. Pornography is always going to bring you back to that point. You have to leave that behind. You don't necessarily have to leave masturbation behind. After a couple of months, try masturbating to more realistic fantasy or just a sensation if you don't want to be completely abstinent. But pornography is always going to lead you back to that beginning point. All right, Willing Seven's plan. Disrupt the normal routine that an urge creates. When most of my being wants to PMO, complete a self-talk journal. Hash out the emotions and meet them with the truth of how things will play out. Sounds like a good plan for sure. One thing that I'd recommend also is that you can't always rely on that plan to save you. It should be something that you rely on in those moments of strong urges, but try to structure your life to make it as easy on yourself as possible so that you're not constantly facing those urges. Might be rearranging your environment in such a way that, say you usually relapse in bed with your smartphone, well, you don't bring your smartphone into your room anymore. You leave it in the kitchen whenever you're home. Or maybe you don't need an internet connection at home at all, and you can just go to the library to do your work. Man, every orange counts really doesn't like me. All right. How do I ban somebody? I don't want to ban him. I'll just hide him. I don't like to ban people. If the haters want to be here, then that's fine. But it shouldn't be interrupting the conversation for those who want to learn. All right, Jordan, you get suicidal when you relapse, my friend. This is, of course, a very serious topic, and please don't ever take that step. I understand thinking about it. I understand how bad you can feel when you relapse, when you break that promise to yourself. But you do deserve to give yourself the chance to be free, because life can be so good and so satisfying, and that is within your reach. You can have that happiness, but you'll never get there if you take that step. So please remember that in those dark times, and never give up. Keep learning, keep reaching out, finding help, and don't give up on yourself, and don't blame yourself either for being caught in this cycle. You probably were exposed to pornography at a young age before you knew that it could cause addiction or any of these problems, and no one warned you about it. No one educated you about it. It's not your fault that you're here now. It is your responsibility to deal with that, but don't blame yourself. Don't shame yourself. You're not alone. We're here with you, so please don't give up. All right. I'll do a few more questions and then end this. I've been having random gay thoughts, and I'm straight. I like women. What's this mean? Well, just from that, I don't really know, and I need some more background information. If you're still using a lot of porn, and perhaps you even saw or escalated to gay pornography or transsexual pornography at one time, then maybe that's why you're starting to have these thoughts, because maybe you're a little paranoid, thinking about, am I straight, or what's going on? And if it is the porn influence, then enough time away from porn, that should fade away. You should go back to just being confident in your sexuality again. I've been on this path for 4 years, and even though I never reached 90 days, I had a lot of 50-plus day streaks. But the last 2 years, I've been struggling to pass a week. Yeah. In the beginning, especially for some people, there's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of strong commitment to never use porn again. You can get those long streaks, but for some people, they relapse and then they commit again and relapse again and commit again and relapse again, to the point where they stop believing themselves. They stop believing that they're serious about it and relapse, even though it is a big deal. And they know that cognitively, it stops emotionally feeling like such a big deal. Oh, it's happened so many times before, once more won't hurt. And it can get easy to be caught in that rut, caught in that cycle. You need to change something. You need to do something that breaks you out of that cycle. You need to open up to someone in your life. You need to find a coach. I'm here. You need to maybe go to an SAA group like others in this chat have been talking about. Do something to break out of that cycle. Invest in yourself. All right, no problem, Jordan. Hi, other Jordan. I seem to be losing faith in the process. How do I regain it? Yeah, just what I was talking about. That over time we start to lose faith, not only in the process, but in ourselves and our ability to stay away from pornography. How do you regain it? I recommend, as I was saying before, do something to break out of this. Talk to people who have gone all the way, who have reached where you want to reach, and someone who can assure you that those benefits are real and that you can attain them. Why do most people think porn-ED is not real and we are idiots? Well, any new idea, people are going to be skeptical of, and that's just a fact. Most people, though, are wrong when a new idea comes out that is backed by the science, that is backed by people's experience. And most people, I think in 10 years' time, will admit, or at least to themselves, or change their minds, that they were wrong, and understand that pornography use can cause erectile dysfunction. And more, the medical profession is recognizing that it is real, and that patients do need help beyond ED medication when they develop porn-induced ED. All right, I think I'm going to end here. I know we have more questions. Sorry I couldn't get to everybody, but I really appreciate that you all joined me today. And I'm going to try to do these more often since it seems like there's good interest in it. So I'll probably do another one within a month or so. And if you'd like personal help before then, of course, as always, go to addictedtointernetporn.com and you can find ways to work with me there, either through email or on phone or Skype. You can get my help in several of those ways. Otherwise, go to the forums, post your story, ask questions. Be skeptical because you don't always know who's answering you, but it can be a good way to find friends, accountability partners, help, info, feedback, etc. Listen to Love People Use Things, and yeah, love you all. I wish you all the best. Have an amazing pornography-free day, and now I'll struggle awkwardly for a couple of minutes to end the stream as you all continue watching. Oh, there it is. All right, goodbye, everybody. See you next time.